All right, for the third part of today's segment one, we're going to talk about damage, wounds, and healing. And because that last segment was so long, we're not going to do proclivities. We're just going to go straight into talking about damage, wounds, and healing in Mutant Chronicles 3rd edition. So,
now the one thing I'll say right now, out of the gate,
okay,
that what I'm afraid of is that you can use Chronicle points to heal faster. I'm afraid of that. I personally don't want that. But let's see if it happens.
Okay. When attacked with a specific weapon, the damage inflicted is based on several factors. Damage rating. Each weapon has its own damage rating. The damage rating for most weapons is composed of two numbers, a number of six-sided dice, and possibly a fixed value to determine how much damage is inflicted.
Sure.
For example, and I think this is going to come up a couple of times in this chapter, if I remember correctly, the bolter does 1 + 4 dark symmetry damage. So that's 1 damage if it hits you, right?
Plus 46.
And then plus 4, yeah, then you roll 4 six-sided dice. You know, I actually have these dice. I have Mutant Chronicles dice because, you know, when it went on that fire sale. So I have the dice here, and it's got this nice little 1 to say 1 point of damage.
Sure.
It's got a nice little 2 holes, right? Sure. You got 2 holes in you now. And then it's got numbers for 3, 4, and 5. I'm just going to show the 5. That means nothing happens. So 0. Yeah, well, if you know what, you might be right. And then you got this cute little symbol right there for your 6.
Sure.
So you can use real D6s or you can use this. Let me roll my 4 six-siders here. I got a 5 and a 5, so throw those away. They suck. I got a 2. Yeah.
Good.
And a dark symmetry. So whatever the dark symmetry thing, whatever the quality of that bolter is, and it actually will be mentioned in
the description of the weapon. Yeah.
Well, it'll be mentioned in the description of the weapon, but they'll have an example with it here as well.
Right.
I have just triggered that quality. So
for example, if it was armor piercing,
yep,
was the quality of the weapon, you now have 3 damage,
mm-hmm.
one for the base damage static, which is 1, and then you roll the 2, which adds 2, so that's 3. And it now activates its armor piercing quality, which means I imagine it's harder to soak the damage.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
And I'm sure somebody will correct what it exactly means. I don't remember off the top of my head if it just reduces soak by 1 or if it completely just says, nope, penetrate through, take all the damage. I forget. But it does. But either way, it activated that quality. You're 100% right on with that. Oh, thank you. Now, bonus damage. A character may inflict bonus damage if he has as above average attributes. Now, we didn't talk about that much, but we did talk about it in character creation. Remember, my character did not have a bonus to ranged attacks.
Okay.
But I did for close combat attacks, which is why my character went all ranged attack, because, you know,
why
if I have the bonus, well, it's just how the life paths came up. But, for example, a character with high enough strength will inflict additional damage. Is that what this chart is over here? Because if it is, okay, yes, it is. If you have an attribute that is equal or lower than 8, it's 0. A 9 gives you +1 dark symmetry die.
Okay, I love this. I love the fact that you are not immediately hampered by low attributes because of this. I mean, there are so many other games where, 7 and 8 is 0, but 6 and 5 is negative. You get like -2, -1, you know, whatever. I'm glad they decided not to do that.
Yeah, sorry about that. Violence solves everything. Yeah, Rumble still has a lot of work, but I'm using it because, well, 1, you guys support me there, and 2, I like having a backup. But good to see you here. Somebody posted, I think it was on our Discord, might have been a comment to a chat. Was it Omen Owl on our Discord? Doesn't matter. If it was you, Omen Owl, there you go. You're getting credit for it. If not, well, you're still getting credit for it. Said that maybe it was a weird guy. Doesn't like the Palladium attribute system, because between 3 and 15 is just nothing. What's the point of having
outside of Rift's Ultimate? Yes.
Well, right. But generally speaking, between 3 and 15 is nothing. So what's the point of rolling? And I understand that, but I don't like heavy negatives, because what the hell is the point? I'm not saying that every character's perfect. I'm not saying that even every character has absolutely every attribute average, but it really feels like a 1 and 2 having a -1, I don't really have a problem with. But when 1 and 2, I'm sorry, it's 3d6, so 3. When 3 and 4 are just as negative as 17 and 18 are positive, you start coming up with unplayable characters. Or characters you don't want to play. Or quirky characters that people act weird about, right?
Sure.
-1, being a little weaker, being a little dexterous, that no big deal. But when you have a -5 and a +5, come on, you know.
Yeah. I mean, 1 or 2 skills and talents can shore up that hole, right? You know, that's fine. But if you roll badly in one stat and it's like -5 to, you know, an important thing, there is no amount of talents or skills that are going to fill that hole. That is a deep ass hole. Your character is now in the realm of maybe I should re-roll this whole thing. So I like the fact that they did this where they didn't give automatic minuses to damage because you're weak.
Yep, I agree. And what is it? It's awareness, if I remember correctly, for ranged weapons.
Okay.
It's your awareness attribute. So, or is it coordination? I can't remember. I think it's awareness. So it may inflict bonus damage if you have above average attributes. Momentum. A player can spend momentum generated by an attack to add more damage to an attack. Each momentum spend adds 1 damage. And we looked at that in the last video.
Yep.
Damage ratings. A weapon's damage rating indicates its overall lethalness. The word lethality? Or am I wrong? I don't know.
No, I think lethality is a better word.
The higher the damage rating, the more dangerous the weapon. Damage is calculated using a number of dark symmetry dice and possibly a fixed value. By the way, and this is for both Free League and for, what's company is this? Modiphius? I get it. This is your thing. Got the little icon there. It's supposed to make sense to everybody. But I think it'd be better to say D6.
Or spell out dark symmetry dice.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Free League did, when we just start doing the Free League games later on this year, we're going to see the same thing. They like using their little nuclear symbol and biohazard symbol and like what the hell. Anyway, this becomes the base damage for the attack, which can be further enhanced by bonus dice and momentum.
Okay. Now, before we end this segment, I want to take a look at some example for ranged weapons and melee weapons, because I have a theory. That the base damage, which is the flat number, is going to be higher for melee weapons than most range weapons, because there's less randomness in it. Whereas range weapons are going to have more dark symmetry dice than melee weapons because there's more randomness possible in a longer shot.
Interesting. You said I've not looked into that at all. Well, I have looked at what the numbers are, but I haven't looked into that at all. That will be okay. We can do that today. Is that going to be for this video? Because we're going to have an equipment. We're going to have an equipment
down to the description of the weapons, and we'll be able to see.
Okay. I mean, because just to be fair, we're going to have an equipment video also later.
Oh, we are? Okay, then
like
hey, next
3 weeks.
3 weeks. Come back.
Something like that. All right, when an attack hits its target, the player should roll a number of dark symmetry dice listed with the weapon's damage rating, plus any bonus dice derived from a character's attributes.
Momentum or attributes or chronicle points or whatever.
Things stack up.
Yeah.
Any damage generated by the damage dice is then added to the weapon's fixed value if present. And there we go. We saw the bonus damage before. Term range combat, same thing. Wait, was this to speed things up during combat? Oh, yeah. I remember reading this and I was like, this actually annoys me in most games. I don't know why, but I have the opposite opinion of this. But since it's written here, I'll go with it. To speed things up during combat, a character should roll any bonus damage dice along with the weapon's damage rating dice to calculate the attack's potential damage.
Just they want you to roll at the same time, just to save.
Yeah, I know, and I get that. I find that when players do that, to me it's presumptuous. You're rolling your attack, rolling your damage right now. F off. Like that's nonsensical. I get it. Uh-oh, now we're getting into locations. Or do you want to look at the example?
Okay.
Okay, does it start up here? I don't think it does, but it might.
Nope.
Oh, no, it does not.
Nope, we're good. Brand Barton. That sounds familiar.
Brand Barton has an awareness of 9, which provides a damage bonus of 1 dark symmetry die to ranged combat attacks. Using a Punisher handgun, we changed to handgun now. 1 + 4 dark symmetry die. He rolls 5 and adds 1. Wait now. Oh, yeah.
He rolled 5 dark symmetry because he gets a +1 for his attribute. Right.
He rolls a 1, 1, 3, 4, and 5. The 3, 4, and 5 are discarded, but the 2 1s are added to the base damage for a total of 3. Yeah, not the greatest shot in the world, but hey, you know what? Still a little extra damage, right?
Sure.
If a character passes his combat attack test and generates momentum, there are a number of options for spending it. We've gone through a lot of those. One of the most common options is to spend momentum for extra damage. Each point of momentum allows character to add 1 damage. We already talked about it.
Stop. No. Actually, Crafty wanted to be very clear that momentum adds a +1, not +1 die,
Yeah.
+1 to the damage for every momentum you spend.
Oh,
You don't
Yeah.
get extra dice. You get extra total.
yeah.
Of
That's
one.
what I thought it was, but
Yes.
good clarification if
I
that
wanted to
is.
make sure, and I want to make sure that everyone knows it here. So,
Okay. No, that's good clarification. Because sometimes we'll make assumptions and then find out,
We're
oops, it
all
was the
wrong.
other way around.
Yeah.
All right, continuing the above example, Brand rolled well enough with his initial ranged weapon skill that he generated 3 momentum. He decides to spend all the momentum for extra damage. He adds 3 bonus damage to the attack, giving him a final total of 6 damage. 3 damage from the damage roll, plus an additional 3 from momentum. So, thank you, Crafty, for not waiting 5 fucking minutes.
Oh no, he had that a while ago.
Okay, 25. I shouldn't cuss. This is segment 1, or we don't do that on RPG Digest anymore. Anyway. Hit locations. Each attack will strike an opponent in 1 or more hit locations. In most situations, only 1 hit location is determined per attack. To determine the hit location, the player rolls 1d20 and looks up the result. Okay, so let's look up our result. Hey, roll me a d20. Okay. You have a d20 near you?
Yes, I do. 12.
You hit him in the torso. There you go. Good job.
Hey, center mass.
And I don't want to page this all the way to the back of the book for my book's down there for the character sheet. But there is a silhouette character. Okay, this is 134. Let's try 490. Remember 134.
134. Copy.
So we'll try 490-ish. Nope, not even close. Scroll up. I said scroll up. Oh my god. Oh wait, is it? There we go. I'll zoom out. Scroll. Stop spazzing, computer. There we go. I know it's sideways, but here's your.
Oh, there's your hit chart. Okay.
Yeah. So mental wounds. There's just one box for mental wounds. Every one of these is a light wound. Where you see in the left arm. Every one of these in torso is a light wound. Your serious and critical wounds are down here. Well,
They're
to the right.
Case type stuff.
Yes. So there you go. That's what. So if you're wondering, like, okay, so you did 6 points of damage, what does that mean? Well, depending on your attributes and so forth, there you go. And you'll write your soak for your armor in here. And when I did my character creation video, that's all filled in. What was the page number? 134?
134, correct.
All right, we're back. So you hit the torso for however much damage that was.
Sure.
Armor and cover. When a character is, let's just skip to where the rule is. Each character can wear armor to protect his body. Armor is determined by hit location. Notice that it said soak in each one of those hit locations, right?
It did. Had a little shield symbol that said soak. Right.
Wearing more than one type of armor only protects a hit location equal to the highest rate. Okay, this is for people like Bob.
This is people who like to stack armor. Stop it.
Yeah.
No one likes you. This is why you don't have a girlfriend. Stop it.
Mixing and matching armor is okay. I got a little light over here, got a little heavy over here, because that's all I could pick up. Things were getting broken. But yeah, I want to wear plate mail over my leather. Shut up, Bob.
Plate mail has leather. Okay, never mind.
I can start. Yep, that is true. Yeah. All right. So if those of you who remember the character creation video, my blood beret had Mark III heavy combat armor, baby. Look at that. I had a soak of
310. What was this ENC? What's that?
Encumbrance.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, it's really heavy armor.
5. Good luck. I'm just
torso.
going to sit back while you keep shooting. Yeah. Oh, wait, you spent momentum. Damn it.
That's right.
So,
my gun's armor piercing.
Yeah, armor piercing. Yeah. Now, cover. Cover is a little bit more important.
All right, I'll be back in a sec. You
Yep,
keep
no
going.
problem. Yeah. A character benefits from cover when he's adjacent to a piece in the environment that obstructs a clear line of sight. There's only light and heavy in this game, which, again, I know some simulation appears to be like, well, this would be worth more. Makes life easy. Light and heavy, okay? Just sometimes it's better to be simple. So let's go down here. I think it's down here. Yeah. Light cover is generally flimsy and provides more concealment than protection. It's one of the things I wish more role-playing games would build into their games. And one of the things I am building into mine is the big difference between cover and concealment. Cover is going to protect you from being hurt. You can have 6-inch thick, totally transparent, bulletproof glass, right? You have no cover. Sorry, I said that backward. You have no concealment, but you have about 85 dice of cover. The flip side of it, tree leaves don't stop bullets. But, you can't shoot what you can't see, right? It's not going to stop a bullet, but not going to be able to see you to shoot you. Or it's going to be really hard to see you to shoot you. You have to guess where you are. There's a big difference in cover and concealment. I wish more games would incorporate that into the game. Now, with that disclaimer over, light cover is generally flimsy. Wood, plexiglass, reinforced aluminum panels would be examples of light cover. Light cover provides 2 soak. It acts like armor. There you go. You get. Okay, heavy cover provides 4 soak. If enough damage is inflicted on cover, it starts to degrade and eventually will offer no protection. Again, great rule. When an attack inflicts 10 or more damage above the soak value. Okay, let's say this again. When an attack inflicts 10 or more damage above the soak value. Wow. How do you do that? Well, that's what your momentum, chronicle points, and all that, having powerful weapons, all those goodies are used for. Okay, the cover degrades by 1. When Dark Symmetry Force...
Example.
Okay.
Our last example with Jesse Ventura actually works. If you have a minigun and you want to clear cover, you can clear cover because you're doing a lot of damage. All that cover is going to go away.
There you go.
There it is.
And, when he started, he dropped it down to a 3. Then he dropped it down to a 2. Well, that becomes light cover. And then when it becomes 1 and finally 0, you're done. 1 still cover. Not much, but it's still cover. And there's an example here. Should we read the example or move on?
We can move on. I think we get it.
Okay. Yeah, I think your example is good enough. Are you ready to understand your wounds now?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Light wounds represents sprains, scratches, bruises, and otherwise minor injuries. Why am I not zoomed in on that? Wish chat would yell at me about that. Yell at me about dumb shit, but you don't yell at me about people can't read stuff. So I don't like sprains. By the way, sprains are actually not the most innocuous of injuries out there. No. I played sports. I think they should have said a strain, but whatever. Scratches, bruises, and otherwise minor injuries, which are an annoyance, but not a significant hindrance.
Like when you're in the middle of combat, that paper cut you got an hour ago is not bothering you.
But they do add up, right?
Yeah.
It's SDC from Palladium. Each hit location can suffer a different amount of light wounds before the injuries become more serious. When an attack inflicts wounds, they're subtracted from a hit location's light wounds first. Those boxes, the little boxes inside the bigger boxes, right?
Yeah.
For each wound, cross off 1 empty light wound box for that location. So when he did his 6 points of damage to me or whatever it was, I crossed off 6 boxes. Oh, wait, I shot him. He was the one covering up the poo in the bag. If all light wounds boxes for that location have been crossed off, any remaining wounds are crossed off the character's serious wound limit. Now things are starting to add up. Now we're getting into those hit points. Light wounds are the easiest to recover. A character can catch his breath during combat to recover a small amount. And normal rest is usually enough to refresh a character's light wounds. First aid and medkits are most effective at reducing the amount of light wounds a character is currently suffering. Don't end your sentence.
Okay. I'm understanding better now the difference between light wounds and serious wounds and critical wounds. I think I'm starting to get the hierarchy here and understanding what it means. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right.
Serious wounds. Can you go? Okay, serious wounds are significantly worse than light wounds. Serious wounds reflect tears, cuts, contusions, and similar injuries. Serious wounds are not tracked by hit location. Remember when I showed you those charts?
Yeah,
those other
they have their own boxes.
Yep. But rather our general pool of health a character has. Once a hit location is out of light wound boxes, any remaining damage is suffered by serious wounds. When a character crosses
that location.
No. Oh, yeah. Once, so if I shot you in the left arm, and it finally went, and you had, let's say you had 2 points left in your left arm, and I did 4 points of damage to you. You'd mark off 2 in the left arm, and then the other 2, they don't go to the torso. They don't just get thrown out. The other 2 go into serious wounds.
Right.
So you can kill somebody just by shooting him in his left arm over and over again.
That makes sense. I mean, if you shoot your arm enough times, it's going to blow off, and you're going to bleed out, and you're going to die.
Something like that. So when a character crosses off his first serious wound box, he suffers 1 dread. Remember, that becomes repercussions. That the character's like, I'm hurt. You're finally starting to take this seriously. If all serious wound boxes for a character have been crossed off, the remaining wounds are crossed off the character's critical wounds. Well, why is there serious and critical? Does that matter? Why do we have to have 3 levels of wounding? Because have you heard anything at this point that says that serious wounds are different than critical wounds?
Well, no, not critical,
Okay.
but it has talked about that light wounds can be healed relatively easily, but it said serious wounds and critical wounds are not, but didn't say how much they're not. So let's find out.
Well, serious wounds take more time to heal than light wounds. A character can recover from serious wounds through treatment, medicine, professional help, or emergency application of automeds. Serious wounds can heal naturally, but take days or weeks to recover.
This makes sense. This makes sense. Days or weeks. A cracked bone would be a serious wound. A gash or a hole that requires stitches,
A gut shot
would be a serious wound. So I get it, and those things take days or weeks to heal. Okay.
Also, I don't. Hopefully, I didn't miss it so far, but I remember reading here that first aid can't cure serious and critical wounds. Simple first aid. You need more care than that.
It says through treatment, medicine, professional help.
Yep.
Or if an EMT is working on me, I'd consider that professional help. I don't understand, but okay. If there's a rule for it, then fine.
Yeah, hopefully we'll find later. If not, well then maybe I'm wrong. But I could have sworn I read that this week. Critical wounds reflect the most debilitating, potentially life-threatening injuries a character can suffer. Critical wounds can be broken bones, mangled limbs, severe tissue damage, or other traumatic injuries. 80% burn victim, right?
Yeah, compound fracture.
Critical wounds are not tracked by hit location, but rather our general pool of health character has. Same as serious wounds. Once a character has crossed off all serious wounds, any additional wounds are suffered as critical wounds. Each time a character crosses off a critical wound box, he suffers 1 dread. Okay,
yeah,
so far, same as serious. For example, if a character suffers suffers wounds that result in crossing off 3 critical wound boxes, that character also suffers 3 dread. So you're going to be dreaded out here soon. Critical wounds may also be suffered as a result of certain combat results, traumatic damage, or massive damage. If a character I love this rule, by the way. When I read this, I wanted to highlight it. But if a character ever suffers wounds greater than his physique, wounds, not damage, he automatically suffers an additional critical wound.
Physique is an attribute?
Yes.
Okay.
It's like endurance or constitution, right?
Got it.
Critical wounds are grievous injuries and require special treatment, professional assistance, or long-term convalescence to recover from properly. So folks out there who play games, who complain that, Forbidden Lands has a death spiral. Games, I should just be able to recover. No. Games like this, first of all, this game's cinematic, right? So it has a lot of avenues for you to be heroic. Momentum, chronicle points, yada, yada.
Yeah, you can spend points to get away from this.
Yes. Know when to run.
Well,
what's that? Yeah. Well,
if you run out of these points, well, then you got to deal with the devil on this one.
Or if not know when to run, know when now is the time to be a hero.
Yeah.
And start spending those points like a madman. Because this game gives you 3 levels. Oh, I've taken some damage. That's fine. Combat deals damage. You're supposed to take some. Okay, now I'm really starting to get hurt here a little bit. Yeah, I'm still in the fight, maybe. Okay, now I'm about to die. Bye. I'm out. Have a nice time.
Have fun storming the castle.
Right. So when a character's 1 or more critical wound boxes crossed off, he's considered critically injured. Critical wounds, critically injured. Makes sense. Critically injured is a status effect which will affect the character until he's recovered from all critical wounds.
Okay.
Character death.
Wah, wah.
If a character suffers too much damage, he risks dying.
He risks dying. Not gonna die. He risks it.
The 2 most common ways for a character to die from his wounds are to either have all critical wounds boxes crossed off, again, didn't run away when he should have, or was hit by,
a mountain or a Zamboni or something. Yeah.
A Zamboni.
Run over by a Zamboni, you just die.
Okay, there you go. Or generate an effect that results in death on the critical injury table. Oh, yes, those are there. If either of these 2 conditions occur, it's time to roll up a new character. No, not make a save. Not 3 death saves.
No, you just die.
Make a new character. One that will perhaps fare better against the forces of the dark symmetry. So let's look at this critical injury table. Can you get your D20 ready?
I got it.
Now, there's a modifier to this table.
What is it?
I can't remember if it's serious or critical. I think it's critical. We'll make it, yeah, number of critical wound boxes. So if you have critical wound boxes, you add that number to this roll, which means if you have,
let's say I have 3 critical wounds. Go.
Okay, so roll your d20 and add 3.
9 plus 3 is 12.
All right, you got a 12. The character begins bleeding. You now have a new status effect. You add
great.
bleeding.
Not only my
into
critically injured status effect, but now I'm bleeding critical injured status. That's
Yes.
great. That's great.
So what is bleeding? We're not going to read them all. We're just going to look at bleeding. And by the way, X means the number. So like burning 1,
right.
burning 2, you know, okay.
Nope.
So bleeding. The character must cross off 1 serious wound box at the beginning of each of his turns. But if he has no more serious wound boxes, he must cross off 1 critical wound box. How many critical wounds do you have available to you? 5, 6, 7?
I only took 3.
Not
so
enough?
I got, what, 7? I think there's 10 little boxes in that. I just
Yeah,
saw
well, it's based, if I remember correctly, it's based on your physique.
Oh, really? Okay.
So, while a character, and this is because it's blanket.
Right.
While a character has 1 or more critical wound boxes crossed off, that means 1 or more, like it says.
Yep.
He's considered critically injured. The condition carries with it several penalties.
Shit. All right.
Oh,
it doesn't say. God damn.
Yeah, it just has this box about it. We're not going to go into diseases and poisons. Just know you make resistance tests, and the main things about it are there's a cute kind of, what was it? The vector, virulence, and incubation period are the things you worry about.
Okay.
But we're not going to talk about diseases in this video. You really need to worry about that. Buy the game. A critically injured character acts last during a combat round.
Exactly as if he was seriously injured. Okay, seriously injured person acts last. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
now, is that last of the PCs or last including the GM's guys?
It says during the combat round.
I guess that would include everybody then. So yeah, you just go last. All right.
Yeah. Now, if Crafty wants to correct us, he can. But I read that as being last.
Yeah, dead last.
Unless
someone else is seriously or critically injured, then if they're an NPC, you go before them.
Sure.
But after everybody else.
A critically injured person is automatically staggered. Okay, what the hell is staggered? Set down here. Staggered. A staggered character can only perform a standard action on his turn if he's willing to pay 1 dark symmetry point. So you can't even take an action.
Wow.
A staggered character cannot perform a response action unless he spends 1 chronicle point in addition to the regular dark symmetry point.
Wow. Do not be staggered.
Well, do not be critically injured.
Well, yeah. Well, number 1, but damn.
Upon suffering a critical injury, the character suffers dread equal to the total number of critical injuries he is now suffering from.
Sure.
Look, when you're critically injured, just start playing the bugle. I'm not dead yet. Yes, you are.
Oh, you're dead enough.
All right. So we're not going to read through these other status effects. They come from that table that you roll on, right? Now, healing options. Number of ways characters can be injured. Thankfully, injured characters have several options to recover. Great. A character can only receive immediate healing from Shake It Off and First Aid once each in any given scene. That means you can't do it every other round. I took more damage, Shake It Off. Didn't more damage, Shake no. This only heals light wounds. There you go. There's that rule. First Aid only heals light wounds.
Oh, and on top of that, you cannot receive First Aid again unless you're injured again. Yeah. Okay.
A character can only recover serious wounds or critical wounds through natural healing, okay, or the treat the wound use of the medicine advanced skill.
So an actual doctor at this point.
Do you remember advanced skills? Like as in, hey, if you don't have a skill rank in this, can you do it?
No. Well, actually, yeah, you can, can't you? It's just you're so much minuses that it's crazy.
Oh yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, you're at so many minuses. It's bananas.
Well,
and you're
it's the tourniquet around the neck story.
There, tourniquet around the neck. That's it. That's what happens. Yeah.
That's a real thing that happened in a Palladium game.
You flub that roll and you kill him.
First Aid. First Aid uses the treatment skill to help a character recover light wounds. First Aid can also be used to wake someone up who has been knocked unconscious. Okay. First Aid cannot be used to recover. Notice I said it 3 times now.
Yes.
Cannot be used to recover serious or critical wounds, but can be used to recover light wounds to a character suffering from serious or critical wounds. Thanks, man.
So first aid is not enough. You have to have an actual doctor.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Now, I this next part here is again. We already read through something similar to this, but I think it's important to read again because I like the way this is set up. This is actually something I like. Providing first aid to a character with only light wounds is an average treatment test. First aid on a seriously injured character is a challenging difficulty 2 treatment test, but I'm only curing the light wounds. Right, but he's still bleeding out through his lung. Okay, that might be critically, but still. He's missing half his face. You wrapping his pulled muscle? Not the same. First aid on a critically injured, it's going to be 3. It's a difficulty of 3. Okay, so there we go. If the character passes treatment test, recipient recovers the character's treatment expertise ranks in light wounds plus 1 additional light wound for each momentum.
Okay. And you can do first aid on yourself.
Medicine. The advanced skill medicine is required to treat serious and critical wounds. So you can stabilize a person. Can be used to stabilize a patient suffering from an ongoing effect, such as bleeding. Stabilizing a seriously wounded character requires a challenging difficulty 2. Stabilizing critically wounded character requires a daunting difficulty 3, which means somehow, some way, you need a talent, chronicle point, momentum, something to get you a little bonus there. Otherwise, good luck. Treat wounds once per day. A character may attempt to make a medicine test to help a patient recover from any wounds. Treating a seriously injured patient, okay, again, critical, or a serious D2.
Yeah, serious and critical, 2 successes, 3 successes, got it.
If the test passes, the patient recovers from 1 wound of the most severe type he is suffering. Patient can recover 1 wound for each 2 momentum spent. So
who's spending it, the patient or the doctor?
The patient. Right? The patient is enrolling, so it'd be the doctor that's rolling the dice.
Okay, all right. Now I have a problem.
Okay.
Earlier it said something about removing status effect like bleeding. Scroll up.
Yep.
Stabilize. There it is. A patient suffering from ongoing effects such as bleeding. Stabilize a patient suffering from ongoing effects. Stabilizing seriously wounded character. Okay, it doesn't. But it goes away, right? The
bleeding effect goes away. Yeah.
It doesn't come out and say that. So I just want to say that this thing probably goes away. Like if you're bleeding and a doctor treats you successfully, you're no longer bleeding.
Well, here's how I would rule it. And I might be getting a bit pedantic here. And again, people in chat can correct me. If you have a bleeding effect from being shot in the arm and you have a bleeding effect from being shot in the foot, I would say you healed 1 of the bleeding. Not both.
I don't know.
I see what you're saying. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you're reading it wrong. I'm just saying that's my initial gut reaction, how I would rule it. If I am wrong, I accept it. But that's just my initial reaction.
I think of it like this. It's not first aid. It's not quick and dirty. This is under a doctor's care. He's going to stop the bleeding everywhere for his 1 action, right?
Fair.
You have more
might be right, yeah.
Whereas in first aid, if you're bleeding from 2 different areas, dude, I have enough bandage right now to do 1. So suck it. You know, maybe something like that.
You might be right because I'm thinking more on the combat medic side of things. Yeah, like putting the gauze in there for now. Not even stitching it up. So yeah, I guess you might be right on that. Yeah, so I'm just saying that's my gut reaction. But at the same time, how deadly do we need to make the game? So, a med kit. Oh, character can attempt to perform medicine on himself, but the time required is doubled and the difficulty is increased by 2 steps.
Yes, you have to use a mirror, and you have to dig the bullet out. It's a rough thing.
It hurts.
It hurts a lot.
Drink that whiskey first.
Yeah, drink that whiskey. Don't pass out.
All right, a med kit has a number of emergency medical goods such as gauze, disinfectant bandages, and other supplies. A character can apply a med kit to himself or an adjacent character with a standard action. All right. Hey, whoa. Scroll over and scroll down. Injury level. Here you can see the chart. Scroll slowly in case you want to stop at some point and read it because we're going to move on.
Okay. Every day you recover half your character's physique rounded down in light wounds plus 1 light wound per momentum spent. Okay, so if you have a physique of 8, every day you recover 4 boxes of light wounds.
If you make your resistance test.
If you make a resistance test, which is average.
Yeah, 1 success. Yeah.
Okay.
Natural healing. A character can heal over time, but is less effective than most other methods, especially for serious and critical wounds.
Yeah. Compound fractures don't heal right on their own.
Yeah, that's why we have doctors.
Yeah.
To recover naturally, the character must pass resistance tests. And we looked at it up here. Mm-hmm. So if you've got 5 wounds, just for a second, you've got 5 wounds, Ethan Dog.
Yep.
Daunting D3. And it's 1 month between each test.
Holy shit. And you only get one box? Oh, wow. Oh, but I get to remove an effect. That's great. Thanks.
You're no longer bleeding.
It took a month. I'm probably dead.
I'm kidding, folks. God, somebody's going to put in the comments, he wouldn't be bleeding. Yeah, I know. All right. If a natural healing check would result in more wounds being recovered than remaining at that severity level, wounds of the next less type severe are healed. Well, good on you.
Oh, that's nice. Thanks for
Automeds. What what are automeds? Automeds are portable wound treatment units. Okay, they sound good, don't they?
Yeah.
Sometimes built in spacesuits or full body armor suits. When used, the automed injects a potent combination of pharmaceuticals, as well as triggering white blood cell production. Hey, it's elementals from Battletech.
I won't
See chapter 24 for further details. No, I want to read about it here. Okay. Finally, this is the last thing we'll talk about. Mental strain and madness.
Madness.
This section details mental resilience and health. Mental health. Mental health is bullshit. Everybody knows that. Psychology is stupid. Okay, they're good. Actually, those are the comments I'm going to get. What's up?
Yep.
Oh, okay. The debilitating effects of suffering mental trauma are varied and generally triggered in one of two ways. First, mental trauma can be triggered if a character ever suffers 5 or more points of mental damage from a single source. Ow, my brain.
How many? Let's count how many times they use the woke word "triggered" in here. So far, I'm seeing 2. I see another one.
This word's been used forever.
In this paragraph, there's at least four words called "triggered."
See, I don't know. When it comes to game rules, I don't mind the word triggered. I didn't even think of it as being woke in that regard.
But you're talking about mental damage, and in this one paragraph, there's 4 triggers.
Well, can be triggered if a character ever. Okay, you know what? I didn't put that together, and I'm the one that's supposed to be the alt-right. Second, mental trauma can be triggered.
See?
Is that word problematic, Ethan, dog? when a character has no more mental wound boxes remaining. So remember those boxes, you cross them all off. It's like, uh-oh. It is possible one event can lead to both conditions. Good job, old ones. I won't say it. I'll bypass the word. Such as a character with only 4 mental wounds remaining being forced to lose 5 mental wounds. Severity of mental health can be affected by a number of different game effects. All right, let's find out. Okay, scroll. Average. Surprised by a dead body. So you have to make, I'm sorry, crap, I forgot what the role is. I should know because I read it. Willpower test.
Okay.
Makes sense. You have to make a willpower test. Surprised by a dead body. Now,
being significantly outnumbered by enemy combatants.
Yep.
You take the 20 on the left, I'll take the 20 on the right. That's mental damage.
Yes. A stressful negotiation with angry people.
That's just a weak person.
Oh, that's now. Here's the thing: in games that I've played, I've heard all of these argued about. I've seen 100 dead bodies. Another one isn't going to bother me. Well, when you're not expecting, it doesn't say a dead body. It says surprised by a dead body. You're walking through, and all of a sudden,
a dead body was going to be there.
Yeah. You're pulling like, what's up here in the attic, and a dead body comes. Like, shiza. Yeah. Significantly outnumbered by combatants. That makes sense. Oh man, we're gonna lose, man. We're gonna lose. You're Hudson and Aliens.
Yeah. Game over, man.
Yeah.
But this last one, a stressful negotiation with angry people. Shut up. You're just a weak person.
I think this counts as frustration. I don't think it counts as like mental trauma. It counts as frustration. And I see it every day.
Traumatic events. That's the label of this chart. So no.
Okay.
Just cross that off in my book.
Okay. Surprised by a grisly scene, encountering a powerful, intimidating opponent like a Nephirite.
Sure.
Being surrounded by an angry mob. Some of these don't bother me in one regard because it's a die roll. I get to make a roll to have it not happen. Other part of me is like, at what point? Okay, I'm fighting big dark demon guy. Or, it's like horror factor in Palladium, right?
Mm-hmm.
At what
point? It only lasts a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Like the first round.
Being surrounded by an angry mob. I get it. You start making bad decisions when you start thinking rashly. And that's why I say that this is frustration. Because I've seen it happen to people. Stressful negotiation with angry people. I've seen people come out of their own sorts because somebody just would not be convinced by that person's argument. like, what is wrong with you? You know, that kind of stuff. Probably see that in the Friday Night Show stream. But being surrounded by an angry mob, it might be like, well, it's a bunch of people. I still do these things. Well, maybe you would, but have you ever actually been surrounded by an angry mob in real life? Some people fight or flight kicks in.
See, again, I wouldn't use this as a mentally traumatic thing. I would use it as a harried mechanic for combat. If you do get into combat, if you're surrounded by an angry mob, it's your job to de-escalate the situation because you're going to get dogpiled on and it's going to be rough.
Yeah, I would like a little more clarification for some of this because I do think that some of this is a little. I'm not sure if I'm okay with that really being, you know, a mentally traumatic event. But like how you view momentum as being morale, so far I'm viewing mentally traumatic as being just emotionally charged. I guess would be like a word. You know, frustrated, angry, rash. You know, that's how I'm seeing it.
Rash.
So
I can see that rash.
Witnessing or encountering an atrocity.
Okay.
A severe psionic assault. Now, there's the first. Okay, I'm 100% on board with you. One.
Sure. Severe psionic assault should be daunting. I get it.
And it affects your brain.
Yeah.
Encountering a terrifying opponents like an Ezagul. If I were to see that today on this planet, I think I would lose sanity, like as in Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah.
But in a world where these things exist and you're kind of trained to fight them, I don't know.
Daunting is a little high.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dire. Entering a Dark Legion Citadel for the first time. Okay.
I like that it qualifies it as first time. Okay.
Yeah.
Because if you entered it before and got out, piece of cake.
And no matter how many times somebody tells you how bad something is, there are things in life that you just cannot understand until you've been through it.
Right.
Being involved in atrocity. Well, now you're there. Should have done it, man. Should have done it. Every night. Hold on.
Join the Empire, they said. See the universe, they said. I just killed a whole planet. Oh, God. I just pulled a lever and a planet died. Those Death Star technicians, you see, the guy goes like this and the guy moves a lever, pushes buttons. Once he realizes he murdered billions of people or he was part of it, he's going to need drugs to sleep at night.
No. This is what you do. No. This is why we have 6 of you pulling that lever, so you don't know who actually.
Yeah. 5 of them are dummy levers.
Oh, mine felt stiffer. I don't know. Anyway, okay. Facing avatars of the Dark Apostles. All right, epic. Need 5 successes. Something truly diabolic and mind-shattering. Couldn't even give an example.
Nope.
Witnessing such a thing could lead to a complete mental breakdown.
Yep.
Okay. Resolving a traumatic event. If a character passes a willpower test, able to mentally process and retains composure. This is like sanity from Call of Cthulhu, I think. Mental assault. To resolve a mental assault, the GM rolls squiggly equal to the difficult. Okay, dark symmetry. Somebody's going to get mad at me. Equal to the difficulty rating of the failed test, plus 1 additional for each dark symmetry point he's willing to spend from his pool. All right, player. You guys have been giving me a bunch of these points, and I now get to spend them. And what was the difficulty rating of this? Oh, 3? That's pretty difficult, huh? I'm just going to add 3 more in there. So how you feeling? I'm mad.
6
I'm crazy. Some special abilities granted by the Dark Symmetry or the art may also result, and we'll be talking about the art next week. Wait, no, that's the week after. Next week is all evilness. Next week is going to be everything evil. Dark Symmetry. May also result in mental assault against the character if so the ability follow the same rules. Repercussions on willpower tests. When a character attempts a willpower test to resist the effects of a mentally traumatic event, each die result within the character's current repercussion range. Remember what that is? That's your 20 or 19, 20?
18, 19, 20, yeah.
Generated by skill automatically inflicts 1 point of mental health damage.
Wow.
Not only did you not resist it, guess what? Here's another. Okay. So let's just go down here. Mental trauma table. Roll me a d6, Heathen Dog.
Sure. 6. This is going to be great.
Yeah. Terrified. A terrified character develops a severe phobia based on its triggering event. The difficulty for skill tests related to the object of his fear are increased by 2 steps.
2?
2. The character suffers 1 dread and 1 mental wound each round. He's forced to be within close range of his object of fear.
That's pretty severe, yeah.
Crafty keeps putting into chat here that I don't see why people say the game's not deadly. I don't either. Anybody who says this game isn't deadly. All right. That way lies madness. Are we going into... No, we're not there yet.
No.
Thought we were almost done. When a character suffers 5 or more mental health from one triggering event, or if the character has no more mental wound box remain, the character's psyche starts to crack. Each time this happens, the character immediately gains 1 dread. I feel like 19 ways to kill you.
Yes.
The player must roll on the mental trauma table, which is what he just rolled on a moment ago. The ill effects on the mental trauma table are collectively referred to as madness, you think? The character suffers from the madness listed until the end of the current day, at which point he can attempt to overcome through natural rest. If the character if the character has to roll on the mental trauma table when he's already suffering from one of its effects, the results are cumulative.
Oh yeah, just keep piling on. Oh yeah.
Cannot be recovered quickly using normal methods such as recover restricted action. They are too fundamental to be relieved in that way. This includes dread gained from madness, which persists longer than dread gained from other sources, and should be tracked separately. Good job.
But that actually makes sense. I mean, dread gained from physical damage. Once you relieve the physical damage, the dread should dissipate on its own. But mental damage, it's going to stick around a little bit. So is the dread.
So how do we recover from this stuff? We can get treatment. You can listen to relaxing music and start doing some yoga.
Not you. You've been bad-mouthing psychologists this entire day, so no one's going to treat you.
Good.
Right.
Psychobabblists are 80% crap, 20% should be doing something else with their lives. To provide treatment, the treating character must be able to talk with the patient, preferably face-to-face. Lay on my couch. Tell me about your dad. The treating character attempts a challenging D2 skill test. If the test succeeds, the patient recovers 1 mental wound plus 1 additional mental wound per momentum. Okay, that's similar, right?
Yeah, but how many times do you have momentum during a psychotherapy session?
Well, this is where you can save it. Well, no, you're making a D2 test. That's for your mental. That's your psychotherapy. You roll your psychotherapy test, and if you get momentum,
the therapist rolls, not you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did the therapist get momentum before this moment?
Well, no, it's that roll. So I roll right now.
Okay. If you get momentum from that roll,
yeah,
you immediately have to use it.
We don't have to. You can use it. I don't know why you wouldn't,
but if you don't, you just lose it because it's therapy. Everything takes a half hour. Or, I'm sorry, 50 minutes for a breakthrough. So
and then instantly the session's over and you're good for a week or two.
Woohoo!
The treating character cannot interact with his patient face-to-face. Increase the difficulty rating by 1 step. I don't know. I work in video conferencing. A lot of stuff can happen over video conferencing.
Yeah, but not as well.
Yeah, probably. Use communication devices to administer aid is not recommended with the risk of dark symmetry. Oh, that's right.
Okay. Yeah, you could blow this roll, and the game master can go, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna have a little bit here and a little bit there, and no, now you're gibbering in a corner.
And you have no safe space.
Nope.
The character cannot provide treatment to himself to recover mental wounds.
Nope. You can't tell yourself it's going to be okay because it's not.
Right? Psychotherapy is the skill that you use for it. Natural rest. With a good night's rest, a character can recover quite a bit of mental health. After a full night's restful sleep, a character can attempt an average D1 willpower test. If the test succeeds, the character recovers half his mental strength, round out, in mental wounds. So if your mental strength is an attribute.
Yeah. If it's an 8, you recover 4.
There you go.
Got it.
If the character is currently suffering from a madness, the difficulty of the willpower test increased by 1 step. And, if you're suffering from 4 madnesses.
Recovering from madness. Okay, now, hang on. Before it was just recovering the boxes. But even if you recover all of your mental health boxes, but you got a madness, you're still suffering from that.
Yeah, and it's harder. Yeah. Recovering from a madness is far more difficult to achieve with only natural rest. You think? What do you mean natural rest? You didn't sleep. You're still seeing it.
You have nightmares.
Night terrors.
There you go. That's it.
If a character wishes to attempt to recover from madness through rest, he must get a full night of restful, which you're not going to get sleep, and forego the chance to recover mental wounds. Oh, so it's like Earth Dawn, where you can use your recovery test to fix your damage, your actual wound instead of the hit points.
Sure.
In this case, the mental wound. The character must pass a dire 4.
Wow.
Hope you got some Chronicle points saved up. Test to recover naturally from a madness. The difficulty is increased by 1 step for each additional madness a character suffers from. So really, if you have more than one, you're out of luck.
Yeah.
Character can only make the character can only attempt to recover from 1 madness at a time. Well, wow.
It can only make 1 attempt per day.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, could you imagine somebody who went through hell, saw all the stuff, saw the demons were in his head, got psychically attacked, was just freaking out, man, like everything. He was shooting his buddies. He wasn't going next to walls because they were trying to eat him. He was scared of the fucking floor. Lights were different colors than what he thought. Yeah, 2 days later, he's like, hey guys, what's up?
Yeah, 2 days later, I doubt it. He's got to roll what, D4? Do by himself? That's not gonna
he's got
happen.
Chronicle points. He's got momentum.
He's got Chronicle points. He may be able to get one of those things gone, but he still has a fear of blood now. He still has a phobia of demons. He still has.
He's scared of the dark and the light.
He's scared of the dark and the light. You know, he's boned. You know, he's gonna pick one. It doesn't matter. You're still worthless. You got the other 2.
All right, we've talked about dread a lot. Let's get into that a moment here. So remember, each 20, you have a repercussion, which is a complication, right? Remember, we showed this chart in a previous video, but we'll show it again. There's your dread chart. Starts off with no boxes, and even with the first box, it's still a 20. Isn't that nice of them?
Yeah.
And then once you say it's 19 to 20, you get a repercussion, which is a complication of some sort. Complications add 2 dark symmetry points. It's or add. Sorry, let me read the whole sentence here. Remember, for each 20 rolled during a skill test, the GM has the option to introduce a complication or add 2 dark symmetry points to his pool. Well, if you have lots of dread, that's a 16 to 20. That's a 20, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, 25% chance that the game master gets to add 2 dark symmetry to his pool or F you over.
Or complicate you. Yeah.
There are situation conditions that can increase that, and that's the dread. And you track the dread. Now, how do you track it? You suffer it. Number of different conditions, events, and effects can result in suffering dread. Many of these are specific to an individual. For example, in addition to other effects, a character suffers 1 dread for each critical wound box crossed off. And we already went through that before with Heathen Dog and all his critical wounds. Failing willpower tests for fear or terror can also result in more dread. Certain status effects generate dread. Dread's going to happen.
Yeah.
The
I'm
GM
bleeding out. Well, you're not going to feel happy about that.
Right. For example, each member of a group may suffer 1 dread upon entering the profane shrine of one of the dark apostles. You know, you're good outside, and as soon as you walk in, like, oh, this is gross. Why did that skull just move? Why are there pipes along the wall and it looks like blood's dripping through them? Because it is. That's gonna, instill you with a little bit of dread, maybe. The effects of dread are significant and can lead to increasingly more challenging encounters. Fortunately, there are several ways for characters to recover from dread. Well, how do you do that? Once again, milestone and scene changes. Okay, at the GM's discretion, when characters reach certain milestones or change scenes in the narrative, that provides an opportunity to recover from dread. Why? Because you won!
Or you removed yourself from the bad situation.
Yeah. And winning doesn't mean you won the adventure necessarily, but you got through, like he said, you removed yourself from that bad situation by defeating that bad situation.
Or you ran away.
Or you ran away.
Sometimes running away is the answer.
Yes. Natural rest. We've already kind of talked about that. He automatically recovers a number of dread equal to half the mental strength rounded down.
Have a couple of stiff drinks, go to bed. It'll look better in the morning.
There you go. Steel Nerve's momentum spend. By succeeding particularly well on a test, can bolster one's resolve, and a character may spend momentum to recover 1 dread per momentum spent on the test.
Okay.
Hey, man, this is working. This is working, guys. We're getting it. I'm going to do this. Hey, you're starting to feel better about yourself, right? Psycho nonsense. All right. Chronicle. Okay, fine. Psychotherapy. A character can attempt a psychotherapy skill to help another character recover from dread. Hey, man, Heathen Dog, you're worthwhile. You don't want to kill yourself, Heathen Dog. You're all right, man. Come on. Pat on the back there, buddy. You're doing great. You're doing great. Rub a little dirt on it. Get back out there. Chronicle points. In a dramatic situation, a character may wish to steal himself from the growing sense of dread creeping into his mind. To this, a character spends 1 chronicle point to recover from all dread.
Okay.
That's kind of cool.
That, I don't know, man. It seems a little OP for me.
You know what? I was going to say no, but you're right, because you get chronicle points every hour.
Exactly. What I would do is, if you spend a chronicle point, all the dread is there, but you can ignore it for a scene.
Well,
It
I
does
wouldn't
not.
say a full scene. I would say a round or 2 or
Well,
3.
chronicle points are important, so
Yeah.
I'm going to say a whole scene just because it seems like it's the way to go. You know, it seems like the happy medium in between
Yeah.
a round and a day. You know,
And all.
and all, yeah, and well, definitely it's better than all. But yeah, I mean, spend a chronicle point, and for the whole scene, you can ignore that you have any dread, but it will come back once you are removed from that situation and you remember how effed your life really is. The dread comes back.
All right, we've got some comments to go through. I've got 2 comments to make here real quickly. Number 1, this was long, but it's combat. I am not going to dive this deep into Dark Symmetry, and the chapters that come next, or into Magic. We are going to talk about it. I am not going to go this deep into it. So if I skip your favorite portion of Dark Symmetry and the Descent into Madness and the art,
put it in the
buy
comments
the book
so everyone can know.
Well, buy the book, because I'm not going to take an hour and a half to go through one section when it comes to that. So let me get this off the screen.
All right, let's give this a shot. What we got? Got Crafty. If a weapon quality has a number such as armor piercing 1, it usually means that it will ignore 1 soak per effect roll. Exceptions will be listed in the weapon quality. Okay, so if there's no exception listed, there is a weapon quality and a number. That is the power of that weapon quality. 1 will take away one soak. So your armor, I hit you in the torso, you have 5 armor, right? 5 soak for that.
Sure.
If I have an armor piercing 1, it goes down to 4. If I have armor piercing 2, it goes down to 3.
That makes sense to me. The only reason why I was a little hesitant on that, because I thought I read somewhere that armor piercing, when I read something about armor piercing, it said it just went through by activating that Dark Symmetry, and maybe maybe that's the difference. Or you're talking specifically soak, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I thought I read, and I could be wrong, that if you get the Dark Symmetry armor piercing, soak gone. You just ignore all soak. I might be wrong, but I thought that's what I read.
Okay. Next one. So this means that if a weapon causes burning 2 as an effect, and you roll 4 Dark Symmetry dice, come up with 2 effects, the target now has burning 4.
Because it'd be burning 2 each time.
Wow, that's horrible. All right. Darthik says you could use the result on the damage dice on a miss when rolling attack and damage at the same time to describe how things play out. Okay. I can understand that. Yeah, if people rolling attack and damage at the same time, it's not presumptuous. It's like you missed, but the bullet whizzed by and did that much damage to the person,
a wall or something,
or the wall or a vehicle or whatever behind you. That's useful. I get that.
Yeah.
All right, next one. That's why they use Dark Symmetry die symbol to distinguish between +1 damage and +1 DS die. Okay, cool. Thank you. Oops, nope, this one. Using the Jesse Ventura example, because apparently every single combat example in this game can be properly explained by watching Predator.
Did you see the cover of the book?
It looks like, that's it.
Cartoony
I ain't got
Predator.
time to bleed over light wounds. A giant hole in my torso from energy cannon would be a critical. Jesse's got no time to bleed. He shook it off,
but he certainly had time to die.
He healed that light damage on his arm through sheer will. That's what happened. All right, next we have looking at the wound system, critical wounds and tables. I do not understand how people can say that 2d20 is not lethal. Well, I wouldn't say it's immediately lethal. I would say it is immediately debilitating in several ways that will cause you to die because of it.
Well, if you're debilitated, I can just walk up and pop you in the skull and, coup de grace you, right?
Yeah. All right. Going last is how I read it too. Okay, characters go dead, pun intended, last. Okay.
I see.
Okay, no. This is important. This is important. Because if you go last, you don't die until it's your turn if you've taken lethal amounts of damage. So someone theoretically could assist you and make you not die when it comes to your turn. That's possible. Is it likely? No. If you've taken lethal damage on the field, you're probably going to die when it comes around to be your turn. You're probably going to die. But it's possible.
Omen Hall, I got to put this up real quickly.
Okay.
That's a good goal. Listen to my character. I'd rather the players wish they had died.
Yeah, and that's what this game does. It gives you so many detriments that you wish you were dead. Which
Please
is
kill my character. Hey, I'm going to spend a Dark Symmetry so you live.
Oh, that's awful. That is awful. Okay, you as a PC blow off the arm of an enemy. You pick up the arm and start beating his minions with it. The other minions are going to see that, and it's going to be traumatic for them. Yes. So, turnabout's fair play on this one. Or blow the arm off and take a bite from it. Minions might run away in terror. It depends on the kind of minion.
I think that's madness.
You've lost the plot on that one. All right. Use your chainsaw gun to cut the head off a leader. You hold his head over your head and bathe in the blood of your enemy. You then throw the head at the mob, who all recoil in fear. Dude, man, you need help.
But just so people know, there are more than one person here, talking in chat. It's just
it's just wow. Just wow. Okay.
Yeah. And now comments from last week. Good news. There's only one.
Oh, good.
Your Robotech stuff got a lot of comments.
Sure.
Chronicle stuff didn't get many comments. So,
okay.
Let's go to the one comment. Might be wrong. When you were speaking on focus, you said that focus is basically extending the threat range on crits. Did you mention that focus not only increases the range from natural ones, increasing it to ones and twos, and so on, but focus also adds extra successes if the crit has been rolled? A skilled roll with a focus 1 is a crit on a 1 and 2, and also adds an extra success.
Does it? I don't remember us seeing. I don't remember
that. Bob rolls his 2d20, has a focus of 1 in the skill. He fails on 1d20 roll and rolls a nat 1 on his second die. That counts as 2 successes.
Oh, no. Yeah, you did say that.
I did
say that. Yeah. Critical is an extra success. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
I remember that now. Yeah. You did say that.
If I wasn't clear about it, then I would just say I should have been clearer. But yes, and I definitely mentioned that in my character creation video because it happened to me. Mm-hmm. I had to get 2 successes to become a blood beret, and I got both the successes on 1 die.
Sure.
So there we go. That's the only comment that we had for skills and so forth with Mutant Chronicles. Maybe we'll get more next time. I don't know. But this has been incredibly long. Thank you to Heathen Dog for